is titled Blockchain in Use, Projects in the Public Sector, and One Last Thing. Please welcome on stage Andreas Freitag, the blockchain lead for Accenture, Austria.
Hi, good morning. I think I'm the talk standing between you and your lunch. So I will try to make it interactive as possible. So if you have questions, please remember them, and we reserve some time at the end to discuss some questions. What you're here seeing is a time lapse from our blockchain hub in Vienna. We often got from our customers the question, how does the blockchain look like? And also my management say, make something tangible. So what we have done is we put an PC with 2 graphic cards in an aquarium and filled it with 120 liters mineral oil. I have to say we don't mind. We just tried it once, how huge we can overclock it. And we use this hardware now for projects and pilots. And it's not running in overclock modus because the guys in this office would not be happy to have 50 degrees in their office. Today, you will also hear what the Vienna underground map has to do with a blockchain project of us in the blockchain hub in Vienna. What are the features of these technologies? If you have a takeaway from this conference and you have to think about the features, in my opinion, the 2 main features for blockchain in the government sector is immutability and decentralization. Almost 3.5 years ago, I was fascinated from this promise from the technology immutability. And I was then 10 years in the IT industry, and I didn't believe this claim. So I digged really deep in the technology, and after some months, I realized, damn, that's genius, this Bitcoin protocol. I really understand this mining process, proof of work, and it's really genius to make data immutable. And the second one is decentralization. So it's not lying in one place, it's distributed. So you cannot just turn it off. So for me, blockchain is a technology which I can use in a lot of areas and use cases. In my opinion, it's more than Bitcoin. It's more than ICOs. These 2 unique features you can use in a lot of use cases. And I was also questioning myself why countries are rich and have a rich society and why countries are poor. Anybody an idea what this diagram shows? The dots are countries. And the x-axis is the corruption index from 0 to 100. 0 means all are corrupt, 100 means no corruption. And the y-axis is the income per capita in dollars. As you can see, there is a certain connection, and you can assume corruption has, or no corruption has a connection with how wealthy is the society in general. I've here marked 2 dots. The red, white, red dot is Austria, of course. And there I have this red, green dot. It's Burkina Faso. There we're also running a project where I tell you a little bit more later. If you calculate the correlation coefficient, it's 0.8. So that means here's a strong correlation between corruption and income. And I, for myself, have made the conclusion, legal security and economic inclusion drives prosperity of a society. And now comes blockchain. And with the 2 features I described, this immutability of data and decentralization, you have a lot of use case in the government sector where you can improve the life of society. So for me, blockchain and public sector is a perfect couple. You can really improve society with this technology. It's immutable and then decentralized, so it makes corruption a lot harder. It supports federal system. In Austria and Germany, we don't have central political systems, we have federal systems. And in the federal systems, it's always hard to agree on one central solution. Blockchain is not the central solution. So it's a perfect fit also from the architecture, from the political architecture to the technology architecture, because all the federal states can run their own nodes and are part of one system, but it's not centralized in the main city or in corporations in the headquarters. You make inclusion and transparent data like this registry data. We have talked a lot, we've heard a lot about land registry. It's transparent, it's immutable, it has a lot of advantages. Another topic which is arising, we also heard before, is digital identities. So we can get back the control over our data. Some examples where blockchain technology would be helpful, but was not in place, is Syria. In Syria, you have a lot of refugees returning to their places, and they're really struggling to prove the ownership of their property they left behind. And it's for the authorities really hard to say, okay, the proof he's providing is real or it's fake. Or Haiti, that's now some years ago, the flooding. A lot of the land registry data was simply destroyed. A lot of people, millions of people, has to relocate, and when they come back, they have also the trouble of claiming back their ownership of their land registry. If you run the systems beforehand, not in a single data center, or 2 or 3, it was in Haiti, in a decentralized way, where nodes are distributed around the world, you have the data. So that's just a few examples where it is useful to use this technology. Here an overview about all the domains you can use the technology in the public sector. First, this notarization. Don't kill me, I know I'm not a notary, it's notarization, it's the wrong wording, or you can say ensure integrity of data. Then you have all the register topics, we've heard a lot about them. Identity management, really interesting and a growing topic. Payment and social services, we also heard about that in the panel. Security in the defense and justice, you can just notarize on a crime scene, you have different things you have to collect, or also digital data which you get, and there you can also notarize this evidence. We've heard about voting. I put it also on the end because I think it's an emotional topic, because the colleague mentioned the people don't understand blockchain technology, and if they don't understand, they don't trust it, because 99.9% of the citizens will not understand it, and a paper process is easy to understand. So voting would be great, but I think there is some way to go. And underneath you have this data exchange and reconciliation topic. So everywhere where you have to exchange data over different parties, you can think about blockchain solution. That was the overview where you can use it. Now I will show you 2 projects from the last year, from the Blockchain Hub in Vienna, where we actually build things and put it into production. First, I choose these examples because the architecture is totally different. In the blockchain space, there is not one architecture fits all. So for every use case, for every process, you have to think about what are the requirements and which architecture you choose. It can be public blockchains, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, but it can be also a permissioned network, and if you have a permissioned network, you have to think about the technology you use. The first example is a permissioned network based on multi-chain, and multi-chain is based on Bitcoin, and it's managing development funds. It's called True Budget. We developed it together with KfW. It's a development bank in Germany. And this project is really interesting because normally these huge development funds and credits are managed by mail with Excel sheets, PDF. So the taker countries has to send reports that they receive money, because it's not paid everything at once, it's paid step by step. And it's a really cumbersome process. And every time, or not every time, sometimes also corruption happens, fake faked reports, and so on. So what we created together with KfW is simply a project management tool based on multi-chain. So what you see here is just an example of a project. Underneath you have the workflow. Each line represents a milestone, and each milestone triggers a payment. And the nice thing is every bank and also the receiver country sees the same data. Every documents uploaded are signed with a signing key and so on. So you have a single source of truth. We run it now in production in a project in Burkina Faso. We also have a learning from the operational side, a really funny learning we didn't expect. Burkina Faso had really poor network connections. So if you say you will run a cloud solution where this process is managed, it would be not possible because the network connections is so poor. And the guys there have now in the finance ministry a node, and this node, they can work on this node, and when they have network connection, they can connect asynchron. So it has also an advantage, not in security and immutable of data, also in the operation. The second project, totally different, we've done last year with North Rhine-Westphalia. The guys have an open government data platform, and we decided to ensure the integrity of this data. Made a short video. On the right side, you have this open government data platform, and there you can download the data. And on the left side, you have this small microsite where you can verify the data. The data itself is not, of course, stored in the blockchain, but the hash of the data is stored in public blockchain, and then you can compare the downloaded data with the hash. So here I download the file. I upload it on the microsite. It has nothing to do with the open government data side. Then it gets compared. Yes, that's the right data. You had the document link. And if you don't trust this site, you can also calculate the hash of the file yourself on your PC or Mac and just compare the hash code. So you don't have to trust this site either. And you can make a search in the database, because some data you cannot notarize because it's geoinformatical data that change very often. So that was a real simple proof how the technology is working. And we choose this use case because we don't need to change any existing process. We don't have to change, also we don't change the source system. We just grab the data, calculate the hash, put it on the blockchain, and that's it. And that triggered a lot of discussions in North Rhine-Westphalia. That was the second project. Now a short look what we build at the moment. Everybody know what build mean? Okay, build is a wrong writing of build, and it's in the blockchain community a synonym for just doing things, yeah, not talking about things, doing things. And we try with the Blockchain Hub not only to make strategic projects or white papers, but also implement things and make our hands dirty together with the customer. How many ideas do you have? So how many, anybody idea how many identities each of you has? It can be government identities or identities in corporations. I guess something about 100. You have Google, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn. You have an idea in your finance minister, you have an ID in your justice Ministry of Justice, and so on and so on. And a personal story. In January, I filed a request for a company to get my data, because we have this GDPR now in Europe. And I wanted to know what the guys are doing with my data, or which data they have. Now it's April and I don't have this data, because they have 3 months time to provide me the data. I'm not sure they're keeping the limits, but it's just one identity. I want to know which data do you have of my person and what do you do with that, and it needs 3 months. Another company, a huge company, Google, you can download your data. I downloaded it last week, and I wanted to print it out and bring you and show you how much data Google has from me. But it's 10 gigabytes of data, so I decided not to print it out to save some paper. And we have also troubles with our identity. We have a lot of data leaks, breaches, the Facebook scandal with Cambridge Analytica. And this decentralized identity gives us the possibility to get the control back. Because with a decentralized wallet, where the data is at your place, decentralized, in your control, you decide who get access to data, and you control the data. And at the moment, we started last week a project in Germany with the ministry to test out the power of the system and to make a first implementation. Second one, for all this project I described, you need infrastructure, and that's a little bit boring because it's an infrastructure project. We created a government blockchain, and we have built a consortium. Nordrhein-Westfalen joined a few weeks ago, and it's called Siebenhirten. Siebenhirten is the underground station in Vienna. Anybody knows why we choose Siebenhirten? In the Ethereum space, all the testnets are named like underground station in London or Singapore, like Kovan, Robston, Morton, and we decided to keep this naming convention. And Siebenhirten means in English 7 shepherds, and it's, I think, also a really nice comparison with this digital world we are doing. And this network also should guard data. So you can imagine these shepherds will guard the data from the citizens. So that's really an infrastructure project. I've tried to make a little draft. Yeah. Underneath you have this bridge, you have the infrastructure, the Siebenhirten government blockchain, and above are driving the electric cars or trucks. And these are the applications. They're really interesting for the citizens, because the citizens are not interested to use blockchain, the citizens are interested to use tools or new services. And that can be open data, land registry, some notarization, this identity topic, or an example text token. I'm almost at the end. There is one last thing. This last year and all these projects we are doing would not be possible without a great team. So that's more or less the blockchain hub in Vienna. And I would really thank you guys to support me and to have also a great time and doing great projects. Some of them are here. Can you stand up? Miriam, David, yeah, Jonas. So give them a hand, please, because that are the guys who are doing this stuff. Thank you, guys. We have 2 minutes left. Any question?
Hello, thank you for your speech. Can you please tell more little bit in details about decentralized identity and how you will implement it and on which blockchain framework? Thanks.
Thank you for the question. We have decided to go for Ethereum in a permission setup for this government blockchain. And at the moment, we look at certain startups who are providing the wallets, like Ubot, Civic, Yolocom, and so on. But we haven't decided for a provider. The basic idea is that we just define the standards, like how you can connect, and then the citizens itself can choose which wallet provider they choose. So we are also looking close to all to W3C and the DID standardization process, and we want to make it open so that you can decide which wallet you use. Okay. Thank you. Bye.